Volunteers outside Waite High School handed out case after case of bottled water. National Guard troops also set up stations where people could fill buckets and jugs from huge tanks of purified water. These were about the only options, as many as 400,000 people had to stop using their tap water when officials realized late Friday that the water supply had been contaminated.
You're used to having the water all the time, and it's something that you're used to, and you just can't have it.
Blooms of algae in Lake Erie create a toxin called microcystin. With the algae thriving, that toxin enters Toledo's water supply. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration says the toxin can cause nausea and potentially acute liver failure. The tainted water created another problem for hospitals in Toledo.
All weekend we've only been doing emergency surgeries, and the issue isn't the surgery itself, it's the instrumentation that's used in the surgery. A big surgical case could have 7 trays of instruments that need to be sterilized.
Many of those instruments had to be shipped to hospitals outside the area for sterilization. In most of Toledo, the levels of microcystin had dropped to what is considered a safe level by Sunday night, but overnight the mayor still wasn't ready to lift the water restrictions.
I am not going to isolate part of the city, so therefore I've instructed our people to go resample and retest, because I am not going to take any chances with this community's well-being and health.
I'm Andrew Spencer reporting.
Earlier in the week, we told you about 2 American missionary doctors who contracted Ebola while serving in West Africa. Tonight, DC Breakdown looks at the extraordinary precautions to keep doctors and nurses safe.
Simply getting the patient, Dr. Kent Brantley, from point A to point B, from the Air Force Base to the hospital here, required a lot of planning. State Department, CDC, the hospital itself. The 2 gentlemen you're about to meet say they've been planning for this day for 12 years. Any reservations by any members? I mean, you know, you've probably heard some of the reports from citizens of Atlanta. They're concerned about this just because all they hear about Ebola is what's happening in West Africa.
I have no reserves. Totally comfortable with it, and this is what we do and train for, and it's perfectly safe.
When you heard about this first, did you have any expectations of what Dr. Brantley, what his condition would be like when he arrived in the United States?
No, we've been getting reports here and there, and with this disease process or this virus, patients can be in a lot of different conditions. So the condition he's in is, you know, what we expected, because that's what we've been hearing.
We heard from Samaritan's Purse that he was in serious condition but stable. We saw him walking off of the ambulance. And we heard he took a shower in Liberia before he even got on the plane. Does that surprise you?
No, sir.
Given that he had deteriorated earlier in the week, that wasn't at all a surprise in terms of the seriousness of his condition?
No, sir.
Why not? I'm surprised. I was surprised by that as a physician. What was the expectation?
Well, our report was that he was ambulatory and stable.
With regard to a patient with Ebola, though, specifically, were you worried about the personnel? Safety? How is this different than any other transport?
So our team, like I said, we get extra training on how to transport a patient with Ebola and other seriously communicable diseases. We transport patients on a daily basis, so actually transporting the patient was not an issue for us. We have policies and procedures to make sure that we don't do any contamination of the ambulance or our personnel. We have protective equipment. I feel 100% confident that we did the right thing.
He came in the jet. We saw pictures of the jet, and the sort of area inside looked like a little bit of a tent. There were some passageways for care to be given. When he got onto the ambulance, what sort of precautions were in place?
So our ambulance is equipped with drapes. We drape out the entire inside of the ambulance, and basically it's a drape, sort of what you would see in like an OR, and that's just to prevent any contamination on the hard surfaces of the ambulance, and it makes it much easier to clean. Well, one thing I would like to add, with the ambulance, we're able to get right up to the back door at Emory University, and with a helicopter you'd have to land it on the 9th floor and go through the hospital and get them to this isolated unit. So I think the main thing with an ambulance, other than our specialized training, is getting that patient directly to the isolated unit, without going through the hospital.
We saw them wearing these types of suits when it came out, both Dr. Brantley, the patient, as well as the healthcare team, I guess, that was on the ambulance.
Correct.
So what is the value of the suit here?
So this is a Tyvek suit. and it's made of specialized material to prevent any kind of fluid, any blood, any vomit or anything from going through it and getting to the healthcare provider.
The whole process is underway again as they're bringing back yet another American missionary from Liberia right here to Emory University, another patient infected with Ebola, and a lot of what we just saw and heard about, it's going to happen all over again.
In case you missed it, the U.S. economy continues to grow slowly but steadily. We put the latest jobs report in perspective.
After gangbusters growth in June, July's jobs report was a bit less impressive, but the job recovery marches on, even if it's at a slower pace. The U.S. economy added 209,000 jobs in July. That's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. July's numbers are a dip from last month, but still managed to stay above 200,000. It's a trend we've seen since February. In fact, the economy added 1.5 million jobs so far this year, the strongest 6 months for hiring since 2006. Meantime, the unemployment rate ticked up to 6.2%, and that rise was caused by more workers joining the labor force. But the recovery seems to be hitting its stride. We already gained back the 8.7 million jobs we lost during the recession, and the jobs added recently aren't the low-wage ones we've seen so far. It's been middle-class sectors like manufacturing, construction, and professional services. But even with strong economic numbers, many Americans still think the economy has not fully recovered. A CNN ORC poll found that only 41% believe that conditions are good. Still, that's the highest percentage of Americans since the recession began in 2007. And it's a good sign for the economy when 209,000 jobs added is seen as a disappointing number. In New York, I'm Allison Cossack.
We'll tell you about a unique surgical technique being used during joint replacement. That's next on DC Breakdown.